We continue right here. UFC 302 Saturday night in Newark, New Jersey. And joining me right now is a man who will be on the first fight of the main card of the evening. UFC Welterweight Randy Brown joins me now on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Randy, really appreciate your time. I know it's been a crazy week for you getting set for this fight. And thanks so much for coming on the show.
For sure. Thanks for having me. It's not a problem at all.
So I got to start with this, Randy. Obviously, you are a New York guy. You have the opportunity to be a part of a card that is taking place just outside New York City in Newark, New Jersey. How many people are hitting you up for tickets for this UFC fight on Saturday night?
Oh man, the amount of people is too many people. But you know what? I'm trying my best. So for those watching, I'm trying my best to help y'all out. But I can't get everybody, but I'm gonna get a lot of people. I can't get everybody.
Elizeu Zaleski is your opponent. Kind of talk about what he brings to the table, some of the things that stand out as you're getting ready to fight this guy, scout him, and of course, come up with a game plan to take him on Saturday night.
His tenacity, honestly, that's one of the things that stands out the most to me is you see his aggression. He's coming forward, you know what I mean? Lots of kicks, and heavy pressure, man. Heavy pressure, high volume, you know what I mean? But that's what really stands out to me the most. But I think those things could also get him into trouble. You know what I mean? So that's what I see most. Just overly aggressive.
How do you plan on trying to stop his takedowns, which he's known for?
Well, controlling range. You know what I mean? Keeping him on the back foot constantly. In his face, just kind of bully the bully in a way. You know what I mean? Take a page out of his game plan and throw him off. So we'll see.
UFC welterweight Randy Brown with us here. Jake Asman with you, Mad Dog Sports Radio. UFC 302 Saturday night. Of course, the headlining fight, Dustin Poirier, but against Islam Makhachev. But the first fight on the main card, Randy Brown taking on Elizeu Zaleski, in what should be an awesome welterweight matchup. You look at your career, Randy, you've been red hot. You're 6-1 in your last 7 fights. What has really worked for you in your most recent fights, and how confident are you that you keep it rolling Saturday night?
I spoke about this the other day, and this is mostly just being more deliberate with my actions in there and my techniques. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely confident I could keep it going. Where I'm at right now, I'm in top form. You know what I mean? And I'm hitting my stride at the right time. So, I think I'm going to be a big problem for a lot of people in this division.
Now, the only guy that you lost to, Randy, was the 4th ranked guy in the world. So, I don't really understand how the rankings work, to be honest with you. I don't understand how Randy Brown is not ranked, given what you have accomplished in your most recent fights.
Yeah, that's a conversation that seems to be just popping up over and over from my last 3 fights, actually. But you know what? It is what it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to be twice as good, and that's life, So I ain't worried about it. I'm going to just keep on being undeniable and keep doing what I'm doing. And eventually I'll be there, So time is a funny thing, man. I've been around this long, and time has a way of telling all. No one and nothing can be hidden from time. So I'm chilling, man. I'm doing what I need to do.
Randy Brown for the UFC with us here. So with a win, do you feel confident that you would be ranked in the top 15 to continue to kind of move your way up to maybe one day get a title opportunity?
I'm not thinking about it too much. I mean, I hope so, but I'm not thinking about it too much. If I do, that's what's up. If I don't, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'll have to fight someone else, you know what I mean, that they deem not as good, so I'll do it. That's easy money.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think that's why so many people are big fans of kind of your fighting style, your personality, your career, just kind of the way you roll with the punches, so to speak, to make a fighter pun right there. Now, as far as your career goes, Randy, I mean, for you, you've been doing this a long time. You started boxing in 2005 before you transitioned into martial arts at the age of 19. Why did you ultimately make that transition? How did you ultimately choose between maybe going down a boxing path versus a MMA path?
Well, I used to go to this school called TCI, right? And it was down the street from Hensel Gracie Academy. You know what I mean? I definitely wanted to box. I wanted to continue to box, but living with my brother at the time, you know what I mean? And I just dropped out of school, and he's like, listen, man, you gotta go back to school, you gotta, find a trade, or you gotta you got to do something. Because I can't have you here just not doing anything. I wanted to just box, or just do combat sports at the time. And, I wasn't able to do that. So I started going to school. Once I started going to school, there was this gym right down the street. I was looking for a boxing gym, but it happened to be Enzo Gracie Academy, right down the street from the school that I was going to. So in between classes, I would run in, check it out. And I'm like, I'm gonna do some jujitsu. I'm gonna try it out for a little bit, and then I tried it. And then I went back and I kept going back and I kept going back. And next thing you know, I'm doing jujitsu. I'm doing jujitsu tournaments, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I still want to box. Then I ended up meeting my coach, my sensei Nardu, and then took me down the rabbit hole of MMA, and here I am today.
Your coaches have been so important to you. I've heard you talk about this in other interviews you've done, Randy. What have your coaches meant to you? Because you've been with a lot of the same guys for most, if not all, of your MMA career.
Yeah, I've been with the same guys from the beginning, and yeah, they poured everything into me. They poured everything into me, and everything that I do now, everything that I know from day one. You know what I mean? It's all coming from the roots. And yeah, I'm one of those people that I'm super loyal to my team, so they're gonna be around as long as they want to be around. They'll be around. That just is what it is.
Randy Brown is our guest here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. He will be fighting on the main card for UFC 302 Saturday night. His opponent, Elizeu Zaleski, which should be a really fun fight to kick things off. Now, I read that you actually suffered an asthma attack in your first fight where you had a KO. Can you kind of give my audience the backstory there? One, can you confirm that's true? And two, what exactly happened that night?
Yes, I did have an asthma attack during the fight. It wasn't a KO, it was a submission. But yeah, it was in Hidalgo, Texas. I fought Eric Montano. If you go back and watch that fight, it was crazy. I'm down 2 rounds, and the first round I started having an asthma attack. I had mold poisoning from where I was living. I was living in this little basement. Me and my friend Andre Harrison, and we lived in this basement. And then when they took off the walls, we didn't know there was mold until they took off the little the panels, and the whole wall room that I was like sleeping in is all just black mold behind it. I was wondering why I was getting sick, why I didn't feel good, and I was always tired. It was like I had mold living in my lungs, which was crazy. So they tried to give him antibacterial medicine, but when they did that for those type of infections, you can't, because that feeds the infection. So I had to get off of that because it got worse, and it was a bunch of nonsense. So yeah, I didn't know that until after the fight. But yeah, round 1 I got tired. Turns out I was having an asthma attack. I couldn't take a breath. I was dying in there. And then if you watch the speech that my coach gave me in between rounds of that last round, I was just like, all right, man, I just gave everything I had. I just ran at the dude, jump kick, got a hold of him, and then got the neck, and that was it. Finished the fight.
I mean, in a strange way, I guess one could argue that you having to overcome that has better prepared you for some of the challenges you now face as you continue to advance in your career, right? I mean, that's got to be unprecedented to deal with that, not realize what was happening, and still come away with a win and kind of build from there.
Yeah, mentally, man. Mentally is just sometimes you got to make that shift and be prepared. When people say, "Hey, are you prepared to die?" That was one of those moments where it's like, yeah, you actually might die. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But that's the mark of a great fighter, though. My sensei has always told me that. My coaches always told me that the mark of a true fighter is a fighter that can make adjustments in between the fight, on the fly. You know what I mean? Because most people, the game plan, shit is going bad, everything just gonna fall apart. But if you can stay calm and make the change mid-fight, that's a mark of a caliber fighter. I consider myself a caliber fighter. So.
You called yourself, Randy, a low-key nerd during an interview you did leading up to this fight. What exactly does that mean? How is Randy Brown, a UFC welterweight contender, a low-key nerd?
Nah, there's the things that I like, man. The things that I like. I'm into tech. I'm like a little techie. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly learning on how to build like PC. I built like multiple PCs now. You know what I mean? I'm always just learning about the latest tech. I'm just interested in like cameras and building like my social media and stuff like that. So I'm always like looking into stuff like that and reading up on better ways to kind of get involved in that kind of stuff. So yeah, super interested in just tech all the way around.
Very cool. All right, before we let you go, I know you're going to pick yourself to win like every fighter, of course, that steps into the octagon. But break it down for us. What is Randy Brown going to do Saturday night? Why do people need to make sure they watch the first fight of the night on the main card of UFC 302?
Saturday night, I get it done, man. Saturday night, I get it done. I believe in a violent fashion, you know, in a very technical way. So if you want to see some beautiful techniques, some beautiful violence, tune in for the first fight on the pay-per-view of UFC 302. You're in for a treat.
I'm sold. He's Randy Brown, UFC welterweight contender, joining us here on Bad Dog Sports Radio. Quick break, and we will continue. Randy, thanks so much for the time, my man, and congrats on all your success, and good luck Saturday night.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.